Thanks for joining us on Khari Free at Last on Bounce 23 TV. I'm Khari Nahara. According to the NSNBC website, The Griot, the American Medical Association has classified obesity as a disease. 36% of adults in the United States and 50% of African Americans are obese. When did being big become beautiful? Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow, the Reverend John Coast, and my special guest, Dr. Victor McCoy. Doc, let me turn to you. And when I say doc, I mean bishop doctor. Bishop, and not just a PhD, but a bishop of dental surgery. Is that right?
Doctor of dental surgery, yes.
See,
yes.
I knew I was going to get it right.
That's new. A bishop of dental surgery, that's new.
Watch out. See, there you go. I owe him that.
Yes.
Anyway, when did big become beautiful? Wow, I mean, I see people walking down the street with outfits that are obviously crazy. I see brothers walking down the street. Some of them look like they're pregnant. I mean, what's going on with this?
I'm not sure. One of the things that I see is these young people is happening at a much earlier age, like 12, 13, 14 years old. And some of these young ladies never get an opportunity to kind of go through those stages where they're desired or wanted in a normal and societal attraction way, you know. So that's my big thing.
Wait a minute, Doc, I'm confused. I mean, you're a heavyweight, but what'd you just say? Break it down, son.
You know, when we were younger, we were very slim. Most people from my generation, we were very slim. When I was like in the 9th grade, I weighed 125 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to kind of watch.
You don't weigh much more than that right now.
My progress. I could watch my progress in weight gaining, like as I built muscle and added weight and size and things of that nature. But to just run through those stages with mass and size to where you gain 20 pounds
Is it in the food?
I believe it's in the food.
What's in the food?
We have high fructose corn syrup in the food. Food's been genetically modified. The number of carbs that we eat with the lack of real nutrition, such as the vitamins, the trace minerals, some of the flavonoids that would be in food that you would pick from the field, that's missing in a lot of foods. You know, and food is manufactured for.
So we're no longer eating food.
No.
We're
What are we eating? Organisms?
It's a food, but you have a lot of things. Think about this. If it'll preserve it on a shelf for 5 years, it'll preserve it in your body. So your body has to produce the enzymes over and above normal just to break down something that's a preservative. So that's what you're dealing with. So food is in us.
So we can't get off this food. We can't get off these. Are we addicted to this stuff we're eating?
Probably to a certain degree, yes.
To what? Because wait a minute, Doctor, either we is or we ain't.
I'm saying possibly because it takes a lot of discipline to break these cycles of food addiction and things of that nature.
Listen, I remember dancing the Hip City by Junior Walker. If you ever heard it, it's so fast, I don't think these young folks
You just dated yourself.
I mean, well, that's all right. I don't mind that. I don't mind it, but I remember dancing to it.
That's Shotgun Junior
You ever
Walker,
watch
right?
Soul Train? You see how fast they dance?
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't do that nowadays. When did big become beautiful in our community?
When we started to not go outside and play anymore. You know, we're in front of the television, we're playing video games, we're doing all types of activities, in opposed to going outside, riding a bicycle, running races with your friends or what have you. We're not outside.
Well, yeah, you're getting shot on the porch.
I mean, come on.
So the children aren't going outside. But for me, I really believe it is that the parents are not cooking home-cooked meals that was being done back in the day. Remember that? Every day your mother
What percentage of our families you think sit down and have home-cooked meals now?
Probably I'd say
10%?
about 35%.
I don't think it's that high. I would say, like, I take the 0 away from that 30% and have a 3 maybe.
Wow. I would.
Doc, this reliance on fast foods is also taking us down, or is it?
I believe that it is because you have pink slime in the meat.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Cut! What'd you say?
Pink slime is all of this meat that's been gathered from the slaughterhouses, and it's basically in the form of pink slime.
Pink. What does pink slime do to you as opposed to green slime, blue slime, red slime?
Well, it's basically the meat. It's basically meat that's ground up into ground beef and things of that nature that's now fed to humans. At one time, it was only fed to animals, but it's now fed to
So are you saying that they have to color it back to make it the color of meat because it's a pink slime?
Well, when they fry it and when
What
they cook it...
are you telling me is I'm eating garbage?
Basically.
That's
Is
what
that
it seems like, yes.
what you're telling me?
Yes.
And so I am eating the very things that are killing me.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness
Yes.
gracious
You
sakes
are what you
almighty.
eat.
I
You are
am
what
what
you
I
eat.
eat. Well,
Yes.
whoa, we in bad shape.
Very bad shape.
What should we do, especially with young kids, Reverend Coates? As a minister, what are you recommending?
Well, exercise and diet. We need to make sure our children consume more vegetables, more green
They
vegetables.
drink more pop than they do
Well,
water. So
and,
what
so,
are you talking about?
and water as well. And then we have choices of water.
Tell you
to
what,
drink.
I want to ask you one question, Reverend Coates. What are you putting in your mouth? Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. The CDC says college-educated African-American men are more obese than African-American men without a high school education. African-American women have the highest rate of obesity, and if educated and more money they earn, they're more overweight. Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Irv Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and special guest Dr. Victor McCoy. Irv, African-American women, are they really heavier than white women? Are they really heavier than Latino women? And if so, why are they so much bigger? Or is that a myth?
Well, you know, I've seen some stats, and they say that we are, but there are black women who have...
Is it a myth? Is it true?
Okay, it's true. However, we are now working out. There's groups of black women who run, black women who exercise together. But however, being that we are the most unmarried group of women, do you think that we're turning to food for comfort?
What's that got to do with it?
Depression is #1 with African-American women too. Are we turning to food to satiate our depression?
Dr. McCoy, is that true? I mean,
I
is
can believe it.
depression that deep amongst African-American women? She sounded like all the African-American women on Prozac.
It's not all, but I had a case in my office one day of a young lady who came in, and we're treating her for dental. But, you know, we were talking, and we started kind of praying with her and just finding out her issue. She was a size 12, 14, and that's not really large.
No.
That's
Right.
considered normal
Average.
size.
Well, what was the problem?
But she was depressed. There were some things that were going on in her life she was depressed. And so I prayed. I do pray as a bishop and a pastor. And we prayed with her, and the Holy Spirit gave me some things to give her. Exactly 6 months later, there was 5 things on the list that we gave her. She was a size 4.
All right.
And she was full of joy. Her
Can you pray with me
attitude-
now? Because I need to lose 15 more. 15 more.
But Irv Jallow
but-
says, wait a minute, Doc. Irv Jallow says African women, if we go back to the homeland, she says African women are larger.
They are larger.
But then again, I remember in the 50s when you had back in the 1500s where you had white women, they was this Rubenesque, they
Well,
called
the
them.
question
They
is
were
larger,
big also.
larger where?
But
What do you
What
What
you
kind of
talking about?
large? You say they're larger.
I mean, all over, but especially, well, in
Oh.
certain areas, you know, it's always been.
But a combination of poor diet and low exercise will lead to obesity.
What about low self-esteem? We have to throw that in there too, because a lot of black women are suffering from
Oh,
low
y'all just making
self-esteem.
excuses. Y'all just making excuses.
No, honey.
Y'all just beating up on. Listen. Isn't it possible that this body mass index is all wrong?
It could
You're
be.
basing weight and size on a white model or a Latino model, and black people are built differently.
Very good.
Just slightly. Just
Isn't that possible?
That you can't extract diet from this. Look at how our cultural diet is. All of the fried food, all of the cheese, all of the
And white
grease,
families don't eat as- don't white families don't eat as bad?
Certain cultures in the white community do, but not as bad as we do. All the pork that we have
And
in our...
we're not supposed to be eating everything that
Listen,
everybody
I
else
go
is
to
eating.
supermarkets in largely white communities like I go to largely black. They sell the same product. What are you talking about?
You'll find a ham hock for me.
They got them in there.
Listen to this.
Find some fat back.
I
okay?
find pop, I find high salt,
Find some,
I find how sugar-based food.
Find some chitlins, okay?
They've got chitlins, they call them hog maws. But they've got, don't they have chitlins in there?
Well, one of the things we do is we overcook our food. So we cook the nutrients out and the enzymes out.
What do you mean
And then-
overcook?
Well, let's say for greens, for
Am
example.
I supposed to eat hamburgers raw?
No, I'm talking about let's say the vegetables like greens.
Okay.
We overcook them. And they're good when they're soft and kind of mushy. When they should be a little more crunchy because it's preserving more of the integrity and the fiber of the food.
Would that reduce weight?
It would,
Yeah.
yes, because it would have more cleansing effect.
Vegetables
Okay,
clean you out.
if it's true, it's true that black females are the heaviest, most obese or overweight population, what's your recommendation? How do they get this weight off?
Well, one thing you have to do is you have to look at the depression issue. You have to also look at timing of when we eat. Sometimes the timing of the foods, and sometimes we don't really realize, let's say if we're preparing.
Timing means what?
The
Time of day.
Time of day we eat the foods.
All right, is there a cutoff point?
I would say don't eat anything after 8 o'clock at night.
8 o'clock at night. In
Yeah,
the
and-
wintertime? Or would you say 6?
All year long. All year long.
8 o'clock.
Yes,
Why?
8 o'clock. Because, you know, you don't want this food to just sit
Sitting.
in your, digestive system. And it just,
Has to
you're
work
not
harder.
doing the activity.
So
with
we
it.
eat heavy food later at night.
Sometimes, and
Is that what
sometimes
you-
we
and
have the
that's what's
sugars.
contributing?
The predominant amount of sugar, let's give this, when you look at the pyramid, the food pyramid, it has 60% carbohydrates. And that's the same percentage that they use to fatten cows. So if we eat mostly carbohydrates and not a lot of proteins and not a lot of good fats, we're actually following in the same model and format that they use to
Is
fatten
that why
the cow
we're
or
having so
pig.
much diabetes? Is that
It
why
could
we're
be,
having
yes.
heart attacks and
Yes,
early
it could be.
cancer?
Yes.
All of this you lay at the feet of diet?
Diet is big.
How
Diet is very
big?
big.
70% of all of our
It's a lot
problems?
of, because
80%?
most of us got a pretty decent set of genetics from our parents.
Correct.
Most of us did. It's only in the last 30 years that you see this. All the artificial additives, the preservatives, the sweeteners, the sugars, high fructose corn syrup, all of this stuff is in the food. And it basically, sugar to me is a toxic substance.
Now, what about marijuana? Marijuana gives you the munchies. What about alcohol?
Let me say something about
Reverend.
the sugar. See, one thing about sugar and the high fructose.
You see, he walked right past me.
As he should have. Very good.
I'm going to walk you right back into marijuana.
When you take in a lot of sugar, let's say, not natural sugar, but this sugar, this high fructose corn syrup, which the Japanese in the early 70s invented this technique to kind of make food where it's preservative. So now we can drink pop and all this stuff will be stable over a longer period of time. Whenever you put it in your body, sugar turns off your ability to burn fat. It turns off your ability to burn fat. When you look at, the body uses basically glucose inside of the cell.
So what sugars can I eat?
All of the fruit you can eat because fruit has fructose,
No
it has
pop?
galactose, no pop. Anything,
candy bar?
Anything that
No
man,
cake chips?
Nope.
none. Anything
No
that
corn
man,
chips?
Nope.
anything that a scientist has put his hand to. Science has helped us a long way, as far as diet, as far as preserving food over a long period of time. But you have to really be careful because you want to eat food that has live enzymes. Let me give you an example.
Wait, hold on. Church people probably have the highest rate of obesity,
Yes,
especially
I
the
agree.
black, in the world. You two are pastors. What are you doing, Reverend Coach, to get the sisters in particular their weight down? Brothers too. What are you doing?
Getting them off red meat and fried food.
Yes.
I'm preaching from the pulpit. No red meat, no fried food.
Exercise.
But man, they bring in them cakes.
Well, we
where
have
they have-
Pentecostal.
for the
We
pastors'
exercise a
night.
lot.
You're bringing in cakes, you're bringing
Yes.
in pies, you're bringing in some of the heaviest food I've ever seen. You know you're doing it. What is the church doing? Huh?
In my church, I teach.
You saw
We
how quiet
teach.
they were.
We teach nutrition, and it bleeds through because I'm big on nutrition. One of the things I talk about is omega-3. You need omega-3 in your diet.
That's a fish oil.
Yes, that's official. Yes.
The study just came out and said omega-3 is very dangerous. It said it causes prostate cancer. Have you heard
Well,
that?
a high-fat diet has been linked with prostate cancer. But see, let me give you
I
this.
tell you what, hold it right there. We got more to come. Sugar and salt is killing us. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome to Khari, Free at Last. It's clear that African Americans are disproportionately affected by obesity and obesity-related diseases, such as type 2 diabetes, bad teeth, heart disease. Is there a conspiracy to flood African American communities with heavy sugar and salt products? Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and my special guest, Dr. Victor McCoy. Dr. McCoy, is there a conspiracy?
I wouldn't say there's a conspiracy, but...
You don't like the C word?
It's all right.
Is there a concerted effort?
In our communities, we do get some of the bad stuff.
Heavy sugar
And we're not taught how to...
Is the food different in the black community grocery stores and in the white community grocery. Is there a difference or there's no difference?
You're gonna bring into your grocery store what sells.
Mm-hmm. Is there a difference? Oh, you so diplomatic.
That's not the problem. Just as there
Is there a difference?
Just as there's an absence of gas stations within the black community, there's an absence of stores that sell fresh fruits and vegetables as well. In fact, I've given up on trying to find fresh
You are
fruits and vegetables.
accusing some of these brand name stores that are
So
nationwide
first of all, the brand
of not
name,
selling quality products?
The brand name stores really aren't in the community at all. We're trying to get them
There
to
are some?
a few.
Okay.
A few, but this desert land, when you go into the deep urban areas, is desert land. The only thing you have are neighborhood convenience stores that specialize in selling beer and wine and those little papers
So
that
you're
they
saying
wrap
the quality of the products is different, sold in black neighborhoods and sold in white neighborhoods?
There's no products, okay?
You didn't answer the question.
Yes,
Is there a
yes,
difference?
Yes.
What's the
Or
difference?
It's either that they're absent products, they're absent fresh fruits and vegetables, and everything else costs more. So, yes, there is a difference. And even in some of our mainline grocery stores or what have you, you can tell a difference between the products in a grocery store in urban areas and products in a grocery store in a suburban area.
Earth, you said you live in a predominantly black area, but you don't shop in a predominantly black area. Why?
Because the quality of the fruits and vegetables are better outside of my area.
What do you mean better?
We live in what we call food deserts, where our children can't go to the store and get a healthy snack. All the stores sell, like he said, candy, junk food, wine, and beer. That's what you get at the corner store. When I go to the grocery store, I go to a grocery store outside of my neighborhood because the vegetables are so much fresher, the fruit is so much fresher, and guess what I find?
Is there
I find an abundance of organic food.
Is there a conspiracy to sell inferior food in the African American communities? Earth?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's a heck of a charge.
Absolutely.
Can you back it up?
Yeah, I can take you to the grocery store. Let's all go to the grocery store.
Oprah got sued.
I know. I know.
Well, she's not calling out any names, you notice that.
I didn't say any names, but we can go to the grocery stores and I will prove my point.
Yes.
And the food is not necessarily as well as I can get out in the suburbs or the exurbs, Dr. McCoy?
Yes, I agree with her. I agree
What
with
is
her.
why? I mean, this was a charge that came out many
as-
years ago. You haven't heard it anymore because I think corporations have been consciously aware of it. You saying it still exists.
Yes.
Based on
You're
what?
gonna sell what people will buy.
That's right.
I'm not talking about what people will buy. I'm talking about the quality of the foods that they buy. Canned goods, meats, fruits, vegetables. You're telling me that I can't get the same thing at a brand name store in the black community as I could in the white community. That's what you're saying, Reverend Coates.
Very well, maybe so. So we have to determine what are the alternatives available to us. Like, for instance, when I buy meat, and if I can't find meat at a quality meat at an affordable price in an urban grocery store, then I go to an alternative store where they may be selling halal meat, where there's a butcher on hand that's getting meat from a farm that may be 20 or 30 miles away. And buying fresh fruits and vegetables, if I'm not sure that they're fresh, okay, fine. I'll buy frozen vegetables because I understand that vegetables lose a large percentage of their vitamin content.
You know what
within
you're just saying.
Within a 72 period.
Do all
72
three of you
hours.
understand what you're saying?
Yes.
You are saying that these corporations are contributing to the sickness of black people in black communities.
I'm going to say yes.
That's what you're telling me.
I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to stand by it because when I go through my neighborhood, what I see is different drug stores right across the street from each other because I think they are planning to make you sick.
Doctor, that's a humongous charge.
Yes.
Do you understand what you just said?
But she said, yes, I understand.
Do you
Yes.
back that up?
You are what you eat.
And what you're saying is that the products that we're receiving in
Yes,
our
if
community
you
are
eat-
inferior
Yes.
products,
If you eat-
inferior meats, inferior fruits, inferior vegetables, canned goods, etc.
And rise in prostate cancer, rise in colon cancer, rise in heart disease, rise in diabetes.
And two more things. One, anytime I can go
All
to the store
attributed to diet?
I believe so.
and get fish that's supposed to come from the meat department, and I have to bring it back because when I open it up, it's no good, and you tell me that you won't take it back because you can't find it in your register where you sold it, but it has your name on it several times.
Then if that's true, why aren't our physicians, I know you are, and other dentists speaking out on this?
Well, first of all, do they have a form to speak out. And is someone asking our physicians?
Well, now they got Khari free at
yes.
last.
And you have to ask the right questions sometimes to get the right answers.
Absolutely.
And what we need is we need instructions as to even what to do with what we have access to. Like, for instance, if I go to a grocery store and buy fruits and vegetables, meat, and someone needs to tell me I need to wash this stuff before I even cook it.
Right.
Okay? Some people think that if you just the heat will get rid of everything, but you need to wash these things.
That's a pretty strong claim. And then with genetically modified food, organisms, I guess that's the way to...
Yes.
Where are we heading with this, Doc?
We're going to have to increase our information base. Everyone has to kind of go get the information as to what is healthy, what is going to make my body better, what is going to make my physiology work and function
Is
better.
that what's causing the breakdown? You believe the breakdown in our bodies is now being caused by
you
stuff we're
can't
taking?
change the DNA that mom and dad gave you.
Correct.
And the only way you augment that is what you eat. And if you eat an inferior product, that is going to show.
If you take a GMO product, it changes the food
Yes, it
structure,
does.
right?
Yes, it
so
does.
if you're putting that into your body, don't you think that it's eventually going to change your structures, the
And with all
cell
the
structure
additives
cells?
combined?
Yes, and
Yes.
when you think about DNA is basically a set of instructions. You're giving your body the instructions for what is going to be in the future.
Future. Oh, that was beautiful, Doc. What will we look like 20 years from now? Up next on Khari Free at Last. Welcome to Khari Free at Last. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation says if obesity rates continue, by the year 2030, 3 out of 4 Americans will be obese, and type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, stroke, hypertension, arthritis will skyrocket. Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and special guest Dr. Victor McCoy. Doc, what are we going to look like in the next 20 years if we don't cut these obesity rates down?
It's going to be a bad scene. It's going to be a bad scene. I wanted to mention something about Belgium blue. Have you heard of Belgium blue, the cows?
Yes.
They are huge and they have been dysmorphed. And that's by selecting certain cows to breed them together, you have this dysmorphed looking cow. And pretty soon that's going to be on the plate.
I don't know what dysmorph means. I ain't gonna lie. Earth shaking her head like she know what it means. Reverend act like I don't know what it means.
Out of shape. We're going to be out of shape.
Oh, I like that much better.
Out of shape.
Okay.
But these cows are very muscular and masculine. And I think how it's introduced to the public is going to be as a leaner type of meat. And
Is 300 pounds going to be the standard? Because I think I read somewhere, but we've got more 300-pound to 500-pound people on Earth than we've ever had in history. Is that going to be the standard?
I don't think that'll ever be the standard, because I don't think that'll ever be the standard.
What do you mean?
I think we have a consciousness about what beauty is, and for some that will be beautiful, but that will never be the
No, when I say
normal.
standard, what I mean is that we're going to have more people on Earth weighing 300 pounds until it's going to become a standard weight. Don't you think that's possible?
No,
Reverend?
people's frame can't carry that type of weight.
They're carrying
around.
it already. What are you talking about?
And they're dying. Those are the people that are dying. But the fact of the matter is that people are living longer. Even though the disease has increased, people are still
Should
living
obesity
longer.
be a disease?
Yes.
Should it be classified as a disease?
Yes.
Doc, should it be a disease?
I think in some respects, because it creates
Isn't it a
so many
behavior
problems.
more than a
No.
Is it something you catch?
Because once you start activating these cells in the liver to produce fat, and that fat keeps multiplying, it creates problems such as in the BMI, as you talked about earlier.
Body mass index.
Hypertension creates problems with vision, creates problems with just the strain on the system.
But that's not, I mean, but back in the day, people were heavy. Back in the days of, the women in Africa are heavy. The women in middle-aged Europe were heavy. They didn't, as far as we know, they didn't have all these problems, did they?
They had them.
But the women in Africa, I can definitely say the diet is different.
What do you mean different?
They kill their own meat. They don't use any growth hormones and things like that. The men actually kill the meat in a sacred kind of way. They're not eating all this sugar and things that Americans eat. So
What size should we be, Doc? What's a good size to be if you're 6 feet tall?
6
and
feet
male?
tall, maybe 180 to 200. I'm guesstimating when I say that.
For African Americans or for Americans in general?
You know, if you're 6 feet tall, I'm gonna say about 180 pounds to maybe at most 200.
So what's a good way for
What,
African-American women?
Yeah, what's a good weight for women?
I mean, just to put it out there, I mean, you ain't got to be spot on.
Well, you know,
let's say you're 5'7".
5'7", maybe no more than 135 pounds.
That's skinny.
That was my high school weight.
See, that's skinny.
Well, I'm just saying, you asked me
That's
what was a
skin and
good
bones.
weight. Good weight. Now, you can add on to that, but,
I want somebody
it's better than 350
Yes, it
pounds.
is.
Oh, of course
Yes.
it is.
I'll
But it's
take a
not better than
150.
155.
But a little,
I'll take a
a little
150.
macaroni, cheese, and a pork chop will do the trick.
No,
Right.
not for me.
Good.
I want to thank Reverend John Coates. I want to thank
Thank
my
you,
special
thank you.
guest, Dr. Victor McCoy, and of course, Earth Jallo, TalkTainmentRadio.com. Thanks, Talk, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. And make sure you join us again next time for Khari Free at Last, exclusively on Bounce 23 TV.